All right, ready for a deep dive. Today, we're going way back to the early days of computing. I'm talking before the internet, before PCs, even before transistors were really a thing. We're going to look at what it took to build a computer from scratch. And not just any computer, but one built during World War II. That's the story of Konrad Zuse and his company, Zuse KG. Story of wartime ingenuity, yeah, but also some serious tech pioneering. Picture this, 1941, bombs raining down, and in the middle of it all, Zuse starts a company. Get this, the name was Zuse Ingenieurbüro und Apparatbau.
It's a mouthful, right?
Yeah, good luck saying that one quickly.
It basically means Zuse Engineering Office and Apparatus Construction.
Catchy, huh?
Not exactly something you'd see on a billboard today, but hey, they were a little busy inventing the future.
What's amazing to me is that Zuse, he wasn't content with just, tinkering away in a workshop. Even with a war going on, he was thinking big. In 44, he restructures the whole company, renames it Zuse KG, much snappier, by the way. And get this, he sets a goal to build over 300 computers.
You heard that right. We're talking mass production at a time when most resources were going towards, the war effort.
That's incredible. Talk about a high-pressure startup environment. But here's the kicker. They didn't just survive. They innovated. Fast forward to 1949, war's over, and Zuse KG relocates to New Kirchen with a plan. They'd held onto a computer Zuse had been developing, the Z4, and with Harro Stucken and Alfred Eckhart on board, they were determined to get this thing up and running, not just for themselves, but for the world to use.
And this is where it gets really wild. The Z4. That became the world's first commercially available computer.
Whoa! Hold on, seriously.
Seriously, we're talking pre-IBM, pre-UNIVAC.
Yeah.
For a little while there, Zuse KG, they were leading the charge. The Z4 was, get this, the only working computer in all of Europe at that time.
Wow. Just imagine the demand.
Oh, I bet. The excitement, the possibilities, it was huge.
It's amazing. This company, born in the middle of war, pulls off what everyone thought was impossible. But wait, there's more. The success of the Z4 got them going because Zuse KG, they started developing a whole line of computers. The Z11, for example, that was their first mass-produced model. By 1957, they'd moved into a former textile factory in Bad Hersfeld. I can just picture it. Rows and rows of computers where looms used to be.
Oh, it must have been quite a sight. And here's where things get really interesting from a tech perspective. You see the early Zuse machines, like that Z4 we were talking about, those were amazing feats of engineering, don't get me wrong. But they relied on relay technology.
Okay.
Worked, but not exactly known for its speed.
Right.
But with the Z22, they switched to using vacuum tubes. Big change.
Vacuum tubes, isn't that what old radios use?
The very same.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So they took something from radio technology and used it to totally change computing. How'd they even make that connection?
Well, it was a stepping stone to the transistors we use now. See, vacuum tubes could control electricity much faster than those old relays, led to a massive improvement in processing speed, like night and day.
So like going from a horse and buggy to a car.
Exactly. Calculations that used to take hours were suddenly done in minutes. A game changer.
Got it. Faster calculations. What about storing all that data, though? Were they still stuck with punch cards?
Actually, they moved on to magnetic drum storage for the Z22. Kind of a precursor to the hard drives we use today.
Oh, yeah.
Allowed them to store and access way more data, much more quickly.
So basically, they figured out how to fit tons of information onto these, spinning drums?
That's the gist of it, yeah. Pretty ingenious, if you ask me.
Innovation all over the place. That Z22 with its vacuum tubes and magnetic drum storage, it must have been a huge success.
Oh, absolutely. They sold 55 units. That was a lot back then.
Wow, that's impressive.
But Zuse KG, they weren't the type to just sit back and relax. You know what I mean?
Always pushing the envelope.
Exactly. That's how they got to the Z23. This one used transistors, which meant even faster, even more reliable, win-win.
And they just kept going from there, right? Newer, better models.
You got it. The Z25, the Z31, each one improving on the last. Just goes to show you got to keep innovating.
Innovate or become obsolete, as they say. But it wasn't all just computers at Zuse KG, was it? Didn't they also have something called the Graphomat?
Oh, yeah, the Zuse Z64 Graphomat. That was something else. Picture a drawing table, but instead of you controlling it, it's got this punch tape feeding it instructions.
Hold on, so like a robot drawing table.
Pretty much. This mechanical arm would move around, creating these intricate designs.
Wow, what do they use that for?
It was known for being really precise, really good at cutting patterns in things like cardboard or foil. People used it for all sorts of stuff, technical drawings, even decorative elements. Showed how Zuse KG, they were always thinking outside the box.
Yeah, the graphomat really shows how creative they were. It's too bad, though, because even with all this innovation, Zuse KG, they ran into some problems. Happens all the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant people, amazing inventions. But the business side, sometimes that's a whole different story.
And that's what happened to Zuse KG. Being a pioneer is tough, you know?
Yeah, I bet.
All that research, building things, getting the word out, it all costs money. And unfortunately, in 1964, Konrad Zuse, he had to sell his part of the company.
Wow, no kidding. The guy who basically started everything, he lost control. What happened after that? Did the company just disappear?
Not right away. They were bought by this company, Brown Bavarian C, they call it BBC. Then a few years later, Siemens, the electronics giant, they bought most of it, like 70%.
Okay.
By 1969, they owned the whole thing. Zuse KG basically became part of Siemens.
So they were absorbed by a bigger company. It makes you wonder, what if they'd had more time, more money? Could they have been as big as, like, an IBM? It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, it shows you how tricky it is for these innovative companies. Great ideas aren't enough, right?
Right.
You need the resources, you need to be smart about the business, and maybe a little luck never hurts either.
Definitely. But even though Zuse KG, the company itself, it didn't last, its legacy did. Think about it, they built 251 computers. That's incredible.
Absolutely. Each one of those machines, from the Z4 to the Z23, that's a piece of history.
And every time we use a computer or a phone, we're benefiting from their work.
They really did change the world. Not bad for a company that started during a war.
So what happened to Zuse KG after Siemens took over?
Well, they got rid of the Zuse KG name in 1971, no surprise there.
Makes sense.
And by the mid-70s, Siemens had moved all their computer stuff to Munich. That was pretty much it for Zuse KG and Bad Hersfeld.
Kind of a sad ending, even though their impact was huge. It really makes you think, what if they'd pulled through? Could Zuse KG have been the 8D tech giant, the name everyone knows? Fun to imagine. Well, that's our deep dive into the world of Zuse KG, a company born in wartime, driven by the brilliance of Konrad Zuse, and ultimately a part of how we got to where we are today. Hey, the exploration doesn't have to end here. If you ever get the chance to see a real Zuse computer, maybe in a museum somewhere, take it. It's a reminder of how far we've come and the people who got us here. Thanks for joining me for this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep that curiosity alive.